This video covers the key of B minor. Let's take a look at our key signature to see what notes we have in the scale. So B minor, let's take a look. Two sharps along the circle of fifths. The first one is always an F and the second one is always a C. So we have an F sharp and a C sharp. It's helpful to learn your relative major scales, so you only have 12 key signatures to remember instead of 24. So let's figure out the relative major of B minor. To find our relative major, we go up 3 half steps. So from B, let's take a look at the keyboard. We go from B to C sharp to D. So the relative major scale of B minor is D major. D major and B minor. 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Now that you got those 2 sharps, we are ready to build our tonic triad. Time to build the tonic triad. So we're going to start with the tonic of B minor, which is a B, and then we just stack our thirds. So a third above B is D, and a third above that is F. But because of our key signature, which you definitely remembered, the F becomes an F sharp. So the 3 notes in our tonic triad are B, D, and F sharp. As we play the tonic triad and its inversions, make sure that you are paying attention to the depth of your hand. This chord feels different than, let's say, our C major chord because of the F sharp in the triad. You want to make sure that your hand is the appropriate depth so that you can move across the keys instead of down and around. So now that we're looking for that, let's try and play the right hand. We're going to put our thumb, 3rd finger, and 5th finger over B, D, and F sharp. This is our root position. Now we're going to put it into first inversion. So the B goes on top, the bottom note is a D, and the middle note is an F sharp with a 1, a 2, and a 5. We're going to move the bottom note D up to the top now, second inversion. So we have an F sharp, a B, and a D, and we're going to flip it one more time into root position again, B, D, and F sharp. 1, 3, and 5. Now we're going to go back down the way we came. So the F sharp is at the bottom of the chord now. F sharp, B, and D, 1, 3, 5. We're going to flip it one more time. So then the bottom note is now a D. 1 on D, 2 on F sharp, 5 on B, and we're going to flip it again into its root position. B, D, and F sharp, 1, 3, and 5. Now for the left hand. We're going to put our left hand in our root position, closed hand. So 5, 3, 1 over B, D, and F sharp. Now we're going to flip the chord. So that B at the bottom goes to the top. We have a D, an F sharp, and that B on top, 5, 3, and 1. We're going to flip the chord one more time. Now we have a D on top. The next note down is a B, and the bottom note is our F sharp. 5, 2, and 1. Now we're going to flip it one more time. That F sharp on the bottom goes to the top, and we wind up in root position again. So we have a B, a D, and an F sharp with a 1, 3, and a 5. Now we're going to go right back down the way we came. So that F sharp on top goes back to the bottom. So we have ascending F sharp, B, and D with a 1, 2, and a 5. Then we're going to flip the chord one more time. So the D that's at the top now goes to the bottom. We have a D, an F sharp, and a B. This is a 5, 3, and a 1. And we're going to flip it one more time. We'll wind up right back where we started. B, D, and F sharp, 5, 3, and 1. Before playing hands together, make sure that, as I said previously, you're watching the depth of your hands, and that, as I've said in other videos before, that your hand lands in the next chord position. You don't want to move and then kind of hover and adjust and then play the chord. That usually just means you need to go back to hand separate work, which is totally fine. Just drill the exercise until, like a gymnast, you go from one chord, hands moving together, and then as you move, you land in that next chord position. It definitely takes time and practice, but try hands together and see what you can do. Let's build our primary chords so we can play them in a progression. So the first chord we've already made, our tonic triad, E, G, and B. Now we need to make our 4 chord, the subdominant. So we're going to go to scale degree number 4. So if we take a look at our B minor scale, B, C sharp, D, and then E, we are going to build our chord from E. So let's stack our thirds. We have an E, a G, and then a B. These are the 3 notes in our subdominant triad. Now, for our dominant 7 chord, we're going to go up 1 scale degree from 4 to 5. So E goes to F sharp. Don't forget your key signature. This is an F sharp, not an F. Now, we're going to stack our thirds. So F sharp, a third above that is an A, a third above that is a C sharp, and a third above that is an E. But because we're in a minor key, we have one more step. We have to add the leading tone, which is the 7th note in the scale, which would be an A, or the 2nd note in our dominant 7 chord, which is also an A. So we're going to raise that A to an A sharp. So our 4 notes in our dominant 7 chord are F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and E. Take a look at these 3 chords. When you feel like you have the 3 chords memorized or pretty close to it, you're ready to try playing your primary chord progression. Alright, now the right hand. So, tonic triad position, B, D, and F sharp. We're going to open our hand, the thumb stays anchored on B, 3rd finger goes over E, and our pinky moves to G. We're going to press it down, and then we move right back to our tonic triad of B, D, and F sharp. Now, that thumb has to move to A sharp, so we're going to move our hand in a little bit, get that thumb over A sharp, and your 4th and your 5th fingers are already over E and F sharp. We're going to press down these 3 notes, and then we move right back to our tonic triad of B, D, and F sharp. Now the left hand. Our left hand is going to start in the same position as our right hand did. B, D, and F sharp, 5, 3, and 1. Now we're going to open the thumb over G, 2nd finger over E, and 5th finger over B. This is our subdominant. We're going to press it down. And now we're going to move back to our tonic triad, B, D, and F sharp. Now, we are going to move into our dominant 7 chord. So that pinky goes down to A sharp, the 2nd finger's over E, and your thumb is over F sharp. We're going to press these 3 down, our dominant 7, and then we move back to our tonic triad, B, D, and F sharp. Before playing hands together, make sure that you know the accidentals, the black keys in this. Sometimes students will kind of like poke around at the keyboard to figure out the notes. Make sure that you understand it from the written, theoretical perspective, and as well as the kinesthetic, like the feeling perspective, because you want to see it in your music and recognize exactly what it is. Feel that nice wrist motion as you go from chord to chord. Keep those fingers curled as always. And when you feel like you have those notes down, try hands together. Now we're going to play our tonic triad, but as an arpeggio. We already know the 3 notes, B, D, and F sharp. We just have to make sure we start each hand in an open hand position before playing the notes. So right hand in that open hand position is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 5 over B, D, F sharp, and B. Now that our hand is open, we're going to play each note sequentially. So B, D, F sharp, and as I'm playing this F sharp, my thumb is gonna tuck underneath and it's gonna land on the B. Now my hand opens up into the next 3 notes. So I have a second finger on D, a third finger on F sharp, and a pinky on B. Keep your hand open and we're gonna go right back down. So third finger over F sharp, second finger over D, our thumb plays down on B, and then we're gonna tuck and turn. The third finger goes to F sharp, second finger to D, and thumb on B. Now the left hand in the open hand position. So we have a pinky on B, a third finger on D, a second finger on F sharp, and a thumb on B. All right, now our hand is open. We're gonna play all of our notes. So B, D, F sharp, and as I'm putting my thumb down on B, I'm tucking over that third finger, pulling my thumb across, third finger to D, second finger to F sharp, and thumb on B. Now my hand is still open, so we're gonna go right back down the same way. Second finger to F sharp, third finger to D, and as I'm playing the D, the thumb tucks underneath and lands on the B, and the hand opens up into the last 3 notes. So second finger on F sharp, third finger on D, and pinky on B. Before putting your hands together, make sure that you are comfortable with the arpeggio technique and motion. And when you try and put the hands together, notice that your second and your third fingers, they always alternate on the Ds and the F sharps. So as you're playing, work on keeping that open hand shape. Remember, the less you have to do, the easier it is to play more notes with more control. That is the key of B minor. I hope you learned something informative and that it aids you in all of your piano endeavors. Please do not forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think I could do better, or, talk that talk, because it is the internet. So, as always, if you appreciate the content, check out the link to the shop below. I'm wearing one of the Chopin hoodies right now. It's got the front, it's got a pretty sick back, you know what I'm saying? I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So keep practicing and stay powerful, y'all.